go. It's another live broadcast, and we're bringing on our good friend, guest, fellow computer technician, and YouTube content creator, Ask Your Computer Guy, Scott Merrill. Welcome in, Scott. There he is.
Howdy, howdy.
I wanted to get you on here real quick while I say hello. Today is Wednesday, the 16th of July, 2025. And today, Scott, Ask Your Computer Guy, and myself, we're going to have a little discussion.
Oh God. All right, Dad.
Scott,
yeah, like I haven't got enough of it in the comments already.
Well, first of all, look, you could be giving away $100 bills and there'll be people complaining that you're doing it wrong.
Funny story, but yeah, you're right.
This is the internet.
You're right.
Welcome into everybody joining us in the chat room. And we are certainly encouraging those of you watching live to interact with us. If you have questions or anything that we can address, we're more than happy to do so throughout the show. And as we catch them and as we see them, we'll acknowledge them. Now, first of all, you have an amazing YouTube channel.
Thank you.
The amount of work I imagine you have to put into that. I mean, I can see it on the screen. I can see the quality of the video, the editing. I don't know if you're scripting, but it sure as heck looks like it's scripted because it's put together really well.
Right.
In the last 3 weeks, you've released a couple of themed videos. Why don't you tell us what those are?
Oh God. Well, the last one I just released yesterday, which is, where I'm going to end up in the principal's office. It was about BitLocker. And long story short, a lot of people, I was inspired to do it because I've seen it so many times where someone turns on the computer and just boom, they get a blue BitLocker screen and they're like, what the hell is this? I don't even know what BitLocker is. And then unfortunately, and I'm sure Carey, you've probably had to do this many times before, you have to tell people, like, I know Microsoft didn't tell you you needed it, but if you don't have that key, everything behind that BitLocker screen is gone. I got a laptop from a client who I was there when she bought this thing. She zero technical knowledge, but she's pretty sharp. And, this machine had the BitLocker encryption on it. And the thing that really bothered me was that her mother, who was a dear friend of mine and a neighbor several years ago, passed away recently. And there's stuff of her mother's that's on this computer, pictures and stuff that she doesn't have. And I tried to tell her, I was like, I'm sorry, but it's gone. So my natural mindset was, you know what, people should at least know about this if they don't. And a lot of the comments that I've seen so far on my channel were, oh my God, I didn't even know this was a thing. And I've now safely backed up my key. So no matter what happens, I'm good to go. So that was really the primary reason for that. Just so that people didn't get blindsided by BitLocker, because again, if you don't know what it is, then, it could bite you. So, so that was the one that I released yesterday. The one before that was regarding that flyby 11 script for folks wanting to, specifically for international people, because I had a lot of viewers in the UK that were having issues upgrading their systems to Windows 11, and the flyby 11 script, which is a legit script, but it wasn't, or legit program, but it wasn't updating them. And so I found a workaround per Microsoft, ironically, and I didn't even mention it in the video, which I was really planning on doing that, but it was actually a Microsoft fix, and I was like, okay, let's test it. Tested it, worked great. So I was like, my UK folks who are now mad because one of my previous videos about how to upgrade to 11 using flyby 11 wasn't working for them, and now it could. So, and hell, I don't even remember what the one before that was, but just novice user mistakes in Windows. Stay out of the registry, don't delete system 32, stuff like that. So,
okay, so the reason I wanted to recap that is I see a theme here that I think could be easier solved. There's nothing wrong with your solution, by the way.
Okay.
I'm not correcting it. I just don't want to work that hard. Watching you do the flyby 11 thing, like you go here and you change your region, and then you go over here and you change your region, you go back here, and then you click on this, and it was like, there's got to be an easier way than this. Now, I'm not exactly sure about this particular issue.
Mm-hmm.
However, I still think my solution might just make life a whole lot easier. Didn't you make a video about like the bypass NRO replacement, the start?
Well, okay. Not specifically about
No.
that. I have mentioned it in several videos that if you want a local account, you can do that. I don't think I've made a dedicated video on it because so many people really don't. I did make a video like why I don't recommend using a Microsoft account. And I think I mentioned it in that video. And I've mentioned it in several other videos. But yeah, I actually plan on making a dedicated video about that, at least until Microsoft stops allowing that bypass NRO to function, which is rumored that they're going to embed that into the code. But for now, it still works. So
okay, so
what's your solution? I'm look, there's 1,000 ways to do anything in Windows. So I am 100% down for learning. If you can teach me to do something faster, I'm all about it.
Well, I mean, you could say I'm teaching you to do it lazier. See, here's the way I'm looking at it.
I like lazy. Lazy's good.
Lazy, I mean, I like to think of it as efficient.
Right.
But here's the way I look at it. What I'm seeing from your videos is reacting to something.
Right.
Right. You're saying, okay, this has happened. Here's how to react to it. And what I'm doing is I'm taking a step back and saying, how could we have avoided that right out of the gate? So you wouldn't you'd be proactive versus reactive.
Right.
Now, regardless, it still amounts to the same thing, which is we're warning people this could happen. And if it happens, here's what you do next.
Right.
What I want to do is say, don't wait for it to happen. Do this now, and you won't have to worry about it.
Well, and that was really the premise behind this video, simply because a vast majority of people, I would say, might have BitLocker on their machine, used it for years, never had a problem, might have even gone through its life cycle and upgraded to a different machine and had no idea that that was even there. But because I've specifically had this issue on, ironically, Windows 10 or 11 home editions, and it's the reason I didn't go into medicine. I don't want to tell somebody that your mom's going to die. You know, I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
And I don't want to be the guy that's when you say, you send me a text with this picture and go, how do I get around this? And I say, did you back up your key? And they're always like, what key? And I'm like, well, I have bad news. The good news is I can fix it. The bad news is all your stuff is gone. And I just hate that. So all I wanted to do with that video was just educate people that BitLocker exists. And here's how to check if there is a key. And here's 3 ways to save it. And if you get this blue screen and you've got proper backups, big deal. Big deal. Wipe the computer, start over, you're good to go. Okay.
And when you say blue screen, you're not referring to
No. The blue BitLocker screen, not the.
It's not an error screen.
Correct. Not the blue screen of death. Your computer's locked because of a Windows update or because of a virus or, a BIOS update. 100,000 different things can trigger BitLocker. And I just think people need to be informed. And to your point, that's kind of the way my channel operates, my business. I am probably more reactive to problems than, I know you like to say, okay, let's take care of this and this will eliminate any problems on, going forward. As far as NAS backup server solutions, things like that. Mine's more of a, kind of a, okay, you got a problem. Let me fix it. Now, once I fix it, then I will become proactive and say, going forward, here's, and I generally don't see the same problems from the same people. So I guess to some degree, I'm doing it right. But in my local area, it's like, hey, who's the best computer guy? My name always pops up, and I get hammered with texts and emails and whatever. And so just going to get a computer in itself that has a problem I'm already in reactive mode. I have to figure out what's going on. But it's just this BitLocker thing, it burns me to my core because Microsoft does not do, I think, an adequate job of letting you know that A, this exists, B, explaining it in a way if you can find out anything about it, explaining it in a way that makes you understand that if you here's what happens. You need to back up this key or you'll lose all your data. Click here to do that. They annoy us with a billion messages about they'll blow you up telling you that Windows 11 is now available, and so you start your computer and it's like, oh, you sure you don't want OneDrive? I'm like, why can't you put that amount of effort into something that is got people's data at risk? Now, granted, if people backed up their data, wouldn't be a problem, right? But people are people, and people don't generally do that. So that's I'm getting off my soapbox, but that's basically, it's like this one hit home for me. This was not just some random customer. This is somebody I knew and I was friends with, and the photos of her mother are, that was a friend of mine. And to know that it's gone forever, it hurt me to my core. And so I just said, you know what, I need to put the word out. And and that's kind of what I do on my channel anyways, teach you how to react to stuff that's happened.
I think that's part of the business model of break fix, is you're always reacting. When you're
exactly
a service provider, you
right.
have the luxury
right.
of setting things up proactively.
Right.
And what I don't like about break fix is how people will let things go that are slightly broken until they're completely broken.
I'll deal with it later, or we don't have the money right now, or whatever. But see, and that's the thing, is because my business is a break fix, whereas yours is more of a managed service agreement. I don't want that. I mean, I know in the long run it probably would be easier on me, but I don't want to do managed services. I don't want to have a whole office, paying me every month to go do XYZ. I would rather deal with the individual issues as they come, and more so lately because with the YouTube channel growing the way it is, and now it's like, I'm not a spring chicken, and where I live, it gets sometimes really cold and really hot, and I don't like getting out in the freezing cold or the 1,000-degree heat to go lugging computers all over town, driving back and forth. I want to get away from that anyway. 20 years ago, doing the managed service probably would have been a better idea. I've actually got a friend that runs a local computer shop, and he literally sold what he called retail, which was basically walk-in customers. He just was tired of that, and he just shifted his entire business model to a full remote support with network administration, all that stuff. And I was like, okay, that's great for you, but that would just bore me to tears. I have no interest in that. So like I said, until I retire, I'm just going to keep reacting and keep making videos. Well,
the important thing is you're doing what you love to do.
Right.
And regardless, it's computer repair. Right. For me, I have when I see problems, not only am I trying to solve them, I'm asking myself, how can I make sure this doesn't happen again?
Exactly.
Right. And then I implement.
But see, by doing that, for me, that takes money out of my pocket. For you, your service contract price doesn't change whether you have one problem or 100.
Correct.
For me, I take 100.
That leaves more money in my pocket. It's the exact opposite.
Right. And we just go about it from two different angles. But real quick, I don't mean to hog the whole stream here, but David had a question that I wanted to answer specifically about BitLocker. And it says, doesn't BitLocker need to be enabled? And that was part of the reason I made that video, because even if you have the pro version of Windows and you can go into your settings and turn it on and off, Windows, I just saw an article and I meant to post it in the video, but starting with, I think, Windows 11 24H2, they said going forward that the BitLocker program, not device encryption, not the base level encryption that's on every machine, but the actual BitLocker program, if you will, can be activated at any time. And that was really one of the reasons I wanted to make that video, because matter of fact, in the video, I had an unlocked or a Windows 11 Pro with BitLocker turned off. But my wife, ironically, she's using the laptop now for her job hunt. But she was like, I don't have the key, the recovery key. She's got an IT background, so she kind of knows all this stuff. And she's like, why don't I have the key? And I was like, because I don't care. There's nothing on the computer. I'll just wipe it and reload. I don't need the key. She's like, no, I need the key. So I was like, okay, well, let me incorporate that in the video. Here's a home edition, no BitLocker. Home edition, no BitLocker. Pro edition, here's the BitLocker, but it's off. Turn it on, get the key, and then go on about your merry way. To answer David's question, it doesn't need to be enabled for it to suddenly become enabled. And if device encryption, due to a hardware failure, due to a BIOS update, a Windows update, any hundreds of different things that can happen or that can cause it, you can literally boot your computer and you're going to get that BitLocker screen. And again, if you don't have that key, you're in trouble. Now, one of my users did comment, or one of my viewers did comment, and I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, but he said, if you enable BitLocker, get that key, but then disable BitLocker, and then that key will suddenly no longer work. If you go and re-enable it, it gives you a whole different key. So in that situation, you should probably enable it and just leave it there so that the key doesn't change. But I have not verified that yet, but the guy did seem like he knew what he was talking about. So anyway, I wanted to answer David's question about that specifically.
Yeah, as you see questions, please jump in
and
don't apologize for that.
BitLocker is so controversial. I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a whole bunch of people asking and I'll tell you what I absolutely know for sure. I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I would do. And then, you guys, you take our advice and, run with it. So, and I saw another one here. Okay. Andy says, I ran across BitLocker when I was browsing through privacy and security. It didn't seem like anything I wanted, so I didn't invoke it. And again, if it's off, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to turn it on and just leave it on. Look, at the end of the day, if your computer gets a BitLocker screen, it's because something happened. And that the layer of device encryption is running on your computer anyway. You can go into your services and see BitLocker encryption in the services. So most people just never see it because they turn the computer on, it boots, and boom, you're done. But if you can see it and you can back up the key, I would just do that and leave it on, and then you'll never have a problem, because Microsoft's never going to turn it off, but they might enable it. And if they enable it and you don't have the key, you're in trouble.
Yes, you are in trouble.
Andy asks another great question. I think Andy's he has a whole list of BitLocker questions today. Don't you need a Microsoft account to enable BitLocker? Okay, so again, like I said in the video, my brain melted doing the research, because you go to the Microsoft forums, Reddits, and all these places where people are supposed to know what they're talking. Nobody can agree on anything. But here's what Microsoft says: is that BitLocker is, when you first set up your computer, like 98% of people who don't know any different, they log in to that new computer with Windows Pro or Windows 11 or 10 Pro and connect to their Microsoft account. That's how you end up with the OneDrive and the Teams and all that other Microsoft crap. Okay. And if you log into Microsoft for the first time, the key is supposed to automatically be backed up to your Microsoft account. But whether you need an account to enable it, I wasn't 100% sure, because I did have a local account on a computer and then went and added a Microsoft account, and I still didn't get any BitLocker options. So I might need to make a follow-up video on that, but I don't know. But if you have a Microsoft account and you have BitLocker, save your key. That's long story short. And Phil makes a great point. If BitLocker becomes enabled, make a local copy of the key in a notepad file, but save it on your flash drive and not on your C drive. I've seen that happen too, where people are like, I saved my key. I'm like, well, where is it? Well, it's on my computer. Well, I put it on a flash drive, or go old school and print it out and stick it in your file safe or something that you could just pick up and type in the characters.
If you've got a web-based email like Gmail, you could just email it to yourself.
Yeah, you can. 100% you could. And but just make sure, if you can pull up your email from your phone and
Yeah.
that'll work
And
too.
then you can do a quick search for it if it was 2 years ago. Just make sure you put the subject of the word BitLocker in there.
Yes,
and search your email for BitLocker.
Agreed.
It should pop right up. Also
100%
flag
agree.
it, put it under urgent or something so that it's easy to pop up. John Lewis said he recently was restoring his wife's Dell Windows 11.
Memory errors. Yeah.
Had memory errors on it.
Yep.
And it had a corrupted BIOS, and it had, apparently he was unaware it had BitLocker on.
Right.
I found a key on her MS account, reinstalled BIOS in Windows 11. Thank you, Carey. All right. Well, here's the deal. Here's where you and I are going to be on the same coin, but on opposite sides.
Okay.
You're going to tell people, just turn on BitLocker. And I'm going to say, whatever you do, the last thing you should do is turn on BitLocker. Never, ever, unless it is required for governmental regulation and corporations for which it was designed, such as HIPAA and FINRA,
right.
You should not be turning that on. That is a corporate, same with VPN. That's not for home users. I mean, they figured out a way to convince home users to buy it. That's for business. And by the way, Scott reached out to me before he made this video and he said, what do you think about BitLocker? Do you have any thoughts? And I really appreciate that. It meant a lot to me. And no one's ever asked me what my thoughts might be. That's a content creator before they make their content. Wow. Sometimes they'll say, here's why I disagree with CareyHolzman, but they don't include me. So,
hey, I've told you dozens of times that we disagree on a lot, but I think we agree on more than we disagree. And that's just
sure.
two different schools, It's like, if you're from the North and I'm from the South, we're going to argue all day about what the best food in the world is.
But I'm not eating catfish, man. That's just not happening.
I'm in the South and I hate catfish.
But you shouldn't have said that out loud.
They're
going to come take your South card.
They can have it. They can have it. I'll move back to Texas, which isn't the South. It's its own country.
That's South, isn't it?
It's south of everything else, but it's not south. No, there's south.
It's not the heartland.
No, it's tech.
That's still the Bible Belt, isn't it?
No,
it isn't.
No.
Oh, well, shows you what I know. Well, here, I'll tell you what.
But I'm going to agree with. Listen, I'm going to agree with you, but it's got to be conditional. Okay, I would, because I did say if you have BitLocker, just turn it on specifically so that key doesn't change. Okay, but if you have a proper backup, then there's no reason to turn on BitLocker.
Correct.
Okay?
Well,
that's what I'm getting at.
Unless you're protecting other people's data.
Yeah, for a home user.
Yeah, for a home user. If you're a small business and you've got client information, like you're a real estate agent,
right?
You're responsible for securing that person's information that is your customer.
Right.
BitLocker would be a wise thing to do.
Right.
So you could be a home user and still be using your computer for like a small business, whatever it happens.
Right.
Maybe you 3D print things and sell them on Etsy. You should encrypt your customers. You should encrypt your drive in order to protect your customers' data, not for you. What you do for you to protect your data is you make a backup, which is what you just said.
What I was going to say is you put the important stuff on your NAS, which is encrypted, and then you can access that from your computer or any computer in the world. And if your computer gets lost or stolen or whatever, then there's zero chance. I mean, that if you wanted extra layer of protection.
But you could also do OneDrive or Google Drive in the same way. You don't have to buy a NAS and understand networking.
Oh boy, there's some fighting words right there. Oh, no. Look, I hate the fact that everybody craps all over Google Drive or using all these cloud services or whatever. And then what do? They get on their phone and they start surfing Facebook. Where do you think all those pictures are going? It's the cloud. You go to Google, guess what? Google's in the cloud. It's like, if you're going to make an argument, stick to the argument. Don't say, don't ever do this. And I'm going to sit here and use the cloud, that same cloud I just said don't use, while I'm telling you not to, Same with YouTube. People will get on my YouTube channel, watch my YouTube videos, and tell me that you should never put anything on the cloud. Well, if I didn't put anything on the YouTube cloud, you wouldn't be watching the video. So, it's like...
I like the people that go in the comments and scream and cry about their privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just shouted into a crowd of people that you were nobody in, drawing all this attention to yourself.
Yeah.
These First Amendment auditors that like to stand out on a street corner with a camera. and people walk up to them and they say, "What are you doing? None of your business." Well, you're recording me. I didn't give you permission. So what? Well, you need my according to who?
Right.
Well, I want you to delete me from your video. Well, if you didn't want to be in my video, why did you walk right up to the camera?
Oh.
Like, who are you, by the way? Do you
Right.
think people will recognize you? No one knows who you are.
Right.
But now you have drawn attention to yourself.
Right.
So now, so long as you are going to act this way voluntarily, we're going to make you the focus of the video now until you decide to walk away.
Right.
And they're like, well, you're doing this on purpose to bait people. Baiting people to see if they mind their own business, seeing if they have a sense of entitlement and authoritarianism. If you want to demonstrate that, we don't. Well, you're making me feel uncomfortable. You ever heard anybody say to you, make yourself comfortable? Like, come on in, make yourself comfortable. Why don't they make you comfortable? They can't. Therefore, they can't make you uncomfortable. That's your choice too. I think you need to make better choices. So I see this hypocrisy that you're talking about all over in our society today, where people think they have rights to tell other people what to do, or ask people what they're doing, or that when they step out in public, you can't put them on camera, even though there's cameras in all the buildings. They don't seem to care about those. Or you're probably casing the joint. Yeah, because that's what a smart robber will do, is stand out overtly with a very conspicuous camera. Like, wouldn't you think they would be more subtle?
It's just,
it's ridiculous. So they're going to get on YouTube and go, I don't use Windows 11 because it invades my privacy. I won't use Microsoft because it invades my privacy. Are you on a phone? Your ISP? Your cell phone provider? Your browser tracking?
Yeah, I could look them up on Facebook in about 12 seconds.
LinkedIn. And they got their entire work history. They just voluntarily published it.
Yeah, it's like I could tell exactly where you're at. Hell, I could Google if you have a weird name, I could Google your name and pull you up in 37 different places. It's like, stop arguing about privacy when you do everything that just puts everything out there. It's just.
But even if you could, you don't. And you know why? Because you don't know who the hell they are and you don't care. Make me care about you first. Right? When somebody wants to leave a comment correcting me and I don't know who they are and they won't use a real name, but they know what they're talking about because they've been in the industry for 75 years. Longer than computers have existed.
You mean you get comments from user 93762 also on
YouTube?
No,
sorry, that was me.
Okay. Stop doing that.
I like to get a rise out of you. Come on.
Now all you got to do is talk about
how sad and pathetic my life is that if I can just leave comments on YouTube videos all day that get the creator upset.
Just talk about Linux. That'll set me off.
Well,
not okay, guys.
At a time.
For clarification, I'm not crapping on Linux. I love Linux. Okay, peace. Okay, I'm talking about the crazies among you who, like Carey says all the time, they go on Windows channels and talk about how great this operating system is for everybody.
They're evangelizing, but we don't know who they are. So if somebody famous, if somebody known wants to tell us their opinion, I'm interested. If I respect that person. At the same time, if somebody tells me I don't know how to make YouTube videos, but they themselves don't have any, it's like taking diet advice from somebody fatter than you. It's, So it's like asking a homeless person in Las Vegas, getting gambling tips from them, because you can see that really worked out well. So all I'm saying is you gotta come from someplace of experience. Besides, you gotta take my word for it under an anonymous name.
No, I don't.
Freedom of speech is what they argue, but freedom of speech also means freedom to lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's just random advice. It's just you trolling, Yeah. Charlie Purdy had a question. Is there anywhere in the registry that can disable BitLocker? I'm sure there is. I do not know where, but what I do know, a good start, you can go into your Windows services and disable the BitLocker encryption service from running. Now, whether Microsoft can flip that switch at any point, I don't know. But I know that if you absolutely don't want BitLocker, that would be a good place to start. just look for, it'll say BitLocker encryption services or something like that, but right click on it, disable. At least that may prevent it for a certain amount of time. For how long? Maybe ever. I don't know. But yeah, it would be nice to say, I don't want BitLocker. I don't care what version of Windows I have on, and go here, do this, and you'll never have it. Especially if you got a computer that never leaves the house. Okay, it's not in any danger of somebody coming in the house, breaking my computer apart, taking my hard drive and running with it. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to do that kind of once and for all, especially since there's so many things you can permanently turn off. You would think the one thing that's most damaging would be an easy click, but no, I don't know.
Well, anytime that you see that I have a little computer over here,
yeah,
things are about to happen.
I know.
I don't know how you make your Windows installation media, but I'm going to show you how I do it so I don't deal with any of this nonsense.
Okay.
Now, when you're talking about customers that, I didn't turn BitLocker on, they did. They're getting screens so often, it's screen fatigue, and they're just click continue and get it off. Yeah. That's how people get Windows 11. They go, I didn't click anything to get Windows. Yes, you did.
Right.
You had a Windows update and you didn't notice, you didn't read it. And it was asking you for permission to install Windows 11. And you just saw Windows update, but was waiting and you went ahead and clicked it. Microsoft even made it blue. It didn't even occur to you to say, that one's it's not normally blue. Right. So then they go, well, I didn't do it. I'm telling you, and they insist I didn't do it. I go, well, it didn't do it on its own. All right. I'm not going to say you did it.
Right.
But this doesn't just happen on its own. BitLocker will not just happen on its own, but Windows encryption will on the home version. Okay, and then you've got the whole Microsoft, wants you to create an online account nonsense. Right. So I have a fix that permanently fixes this regardless of 25H2. Microsoft cannot change this. It's not, you'd have to rewrite the operating system. And within Windows 11, it would be almost impossible to put that much of time and money into it without changing a bunch of other things and just calling it Windows 12.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell, what I'm going to show you today will always work for Windows 11. Permanent fix.
You have my attention.
All right. In front of me, first of all, nothing up my sleeves. I've got this, my favorite little mini PC here, my mini Swarm. I've got an empty flash drive. How do you normally make a Windows 11 installation media, Scott?
I usually use the media creation tool from Microsoft. Not because it's necessarily better or whatever, but I just don't. If I'm not trying to bypass any, hardware requirements or anything like that, which I know you probably will chastise me for, but if it's just a straight, I got to replace Windows on this thing, I'm going to use the media creation tool. I've got several, this one, I got one flash drive that's just my regular Windows 10 standard, media creation tool with, the installation on it. But then I've got a Windows 11 with Rufus, which bypasses the, some of the requirements, that I use for testing and stuff. So, in my opinion, you're getting the Microsoft ISO, and Microsoft provides a free tool to use and download and create a bootable installer. That's what I'm going to use almost every time.
And the problem with that I have for me is that also means that the encryption may be turned on by default if it's a Windows 11 home install, and it will require you to do the Shift F10 thing. If I don't want to deal with that, so I have a flash drive.
We use Rufus. Force the local account.
I will use, that's what I was going to show you.
Okay.
Use Rufus, and I only check the two boxes. I don't bypass any requirements. All I want to do is make sure that enabling encryption by default is disabled. So I check that box.
Right.
And I click disable the requirement of an online account.
So you're basically forcing the bypass NRO in the installer.
Yeah, because you can always sign into Microsoft afterwards.
Sure.
It's not disabling anything. And then when it comes to encryption, where this kind of bit me, and the reason I even found out about the whole Windows Home encryption versus BitLocker was when trying to use Acronis, it will say your drive is encrypted. You need to decrypt it. What are you talking about?
Right.
So what I found is you simply go to your disk management and look at your partitions. And if there's a lock on one of them, regardless if it's BitLocker or Windows Home encryption, then you just turn it off. And if it says it's already off, but the lock is there, turn it on. And then when it's done, turn it off. And then the lock goes away. I don't know what's up with that.
And I think it even says the drive is encrypted. I think there's a lock.
If you hover the mouse over the lock, it will. But sometimes when we go into the control panel and look under drive encryption, actually, I think you can do it all from disk management. We can try it live over here if we want to, because this is my tinkering computer. This is I can reset it. There's nothing on here. But just, OS updates and drivers. That's another day for me to put it all back. I could just Acronis that. No, I said it. But the bottom line is, I don't have multiple installers. I have one, the one I showed you, my Windows 11. And do you know that you can download Windows 11 installer right from Rufus?
Yeah. Okay. For now, as long as it's you can do 11 and 10 as long as whatever's currently supported, you can still do that.
Now, wouldn't that? Here's my question. I want to interrupt you right there in that thought. Yeah. Would that not also solve the blocking issue that you made your previous, or is that something unrelated? You said your viewers in the UK had some kind of blocking.
Yeah.
Wouldn't Rufus solve that?
It was because, the flyby script, when you go through and you say Windows 11, Windows 10, whatever, and then it goes, okay, what version? Home, Pro, Educational. And then the next screen that comes up says language. And people were using English International because the people in the United Kingdom, here we would just say English United States, just like we always do.
Yes.
But people in the United Kingdom did not have the option for English United Kingdom. So they were choosing English International. I don't know why I guess maybe because they didn't want to choose English United States. But then and then it says, okay, what's your architecture x64? And it goes through the process and doesn't give them the option to keep apps and settings. And the reason for that is because of their system, their existing computers, their regional settings was English United Kingdom, but the installer was doing English International, 2 different versions. Okay. So what I demonstrated in the video and walked these people through, first I switched over to a VPN. So I was in London, and then, verified all that, checked the geolocation, boom, it shows me here in London. Cool. Now I went and changed the regional settings on my PC from English United States to English United Kingdom, from English United Kingdom to English United States, even though I was technically in the UK. Then ran the installer again, and this time told it English United States because now it matched the region on their PC. And then when it continued, it gave them the option to keep apps, files, and settings. That was the Microsoft workaround. And that was basically the premise of the whole thing, is like, if you're in the UK, I got a fix for you.
But wouldn't the fix just be to download the right installer to begin with?
Well, no.
Or you're saying after the fact, like that's already.
Well, if you download, it depends on how you run the installer. If you do like an in-place upgrade, it might give you those options. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know either. I knew that this was a fix that worked. I was like, I'm gonna tell people about it.
Sure.
No, doesn't mean that there's 6 other ways to do it.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
But this was one that was just like, I found when Microsoft tells you something in the forums and everybody's like, oh, wow, thanks, that worked. I'm like, okay. First of all, brain freeze. Microsoft just actually helped people with a problem.
Well, was it actually Microsoft or was it an MVP? You do know the difference, right?
See, now I'd have to go back and look at the actual
MVPs are often wrong and hold no responsibility, nor do they speak on behalf of the company. And it's something I find profoundly offensive because, number one, Microsoft doesn't need volunteers for support. They're a pretty healthy company.
Yeah.
Number two, these people come across with this a signature saying Microsoft MVP that
Right.
looks official to anybody who doesn't know that appears to be a Microsoft employee.
That just means you've responded 8,000 times in the comments, and
Well, they tried to shut that program down.
Right.
And they revolted, and they absolutely did their little online riot. And I said to them, I said, let me tell you something, as somebody who runs a computer repair shop. If I got an employee showing me a resume that boasts that they are a Microsoft MVP, I know I can get away with paying you next to nothing, because what you're telling me is you work for free.
Right.
So if I had an idea in my head talking to you about what you were worth, you just diminished your value by showing and boasting how you got a title in exchange for free work. And furthermore, it's confusing, because it's even confused you. It has confused me when you're hearing an official Microsoft response that's not actually coming. Like Windows 10 will be the last version of Windows. That didn't come from anybody at Microsoft.
Right, that's a developer.
It's all the same stuff.
And that's it. I can't say for 1,000% because I can't. But what I can tell you is a lot of times I do find the MVP's advice helpful for the solution that I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't mean to say that. Yeah.
No, and I know that. What I'm saying is I seem to recall having a little bit of shock value. Like this was an actual Microsoft person that said, and it wasn't necessarily that they said go do these 17 steps. What they said was that it was likely due to the region confusion between the installer and what's on the PC. And I went, oh, okay. So there's no English UK here, but there's an English United States. So change yours to English United States, install, and then go change your region back to the UK. Boom, you're done. So it wasn't like they just outlined it, because they never really do that. But it pointed me in the right direction. And then I just figured that rest of it out and tested it, and it worked. So, but I agree with you on the MVPs. They're great, but I wouldn't make a video based on what an MVP told me unless it was a ridiculous.
Well, you got to verify it.
Well, unless I took what they said and implemented it, and it actually worked. Then I'm not going to say, these guys are better. I'm just, hey, I found a fix, and if you have this problem, this will help. So.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are just copying and pasting answers. They're not coming up with solutions. They were taught by somebody else. If they were taught wrong, they continue to preach wrong.
Right.
They are evangelists of Microsoft. They are unpaid, and they fight for it. Like I said, Microsoft tried to. I think John Dvorak wrote an article about shutting down the Munchkins, and oh boy, did he get some flack.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think it was the Microsoft Munchkins. And I feel the same way he does. Like Microsoft is not a suffering company that can't afford to pay for employees to do support.
Yeah, I think they're just looking for, just like with anything else, just like when people want to get emotes next to their name. It's a badge of honor to some degree,
I see it as a badge of I have no self-worth, and the work I do is not worth paying me for.
Yes, but sometimes they're right.
It's a great way if you want to get started and get some experience.
Yeah.
But continue doing it for 20 years. I just find that sad.
Yeah, that would
if
be.
If you haven't been able to convert that into a money-making opportunity.
Right.
And you haven't started your own website to help people, but you're going to leech off of Microsoft's attraction to questions and people asking for help as a way to you're going beyond learning now. Now you're essentially working for free. There's a cutoff point where it's like, if you've been here longer than a year, in fact, I think no MVP should be there more than a year. Give other people a chance to be MVPs if that's really what it's about. And as they get better and better, let them use that to actually get a job and get paid.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to do that, if they still want to say, look, I want to help people all over the world for free, start a YouTube channel, start a forum. You don't have to leech off of Microsoft for that.
Oh,
and Microsoft doesn't need your help. And further, they cause a lot of harm, because I've had MVPs talk to me in a way that's very unprofessional, which is how I even figured out what the MVP was. I'm like, how could you possibly call yourself professional and
Right.
talk like that. Who's your boss? Oh, I don't work for Microsoft. Well, you're signing Microsoft MVP at the bottom. This is years ago when I first learned of this. I mean, this person told me to F off and go screw myself. I'm like, how does a Microsoft employee talk that way? That's what exposed all this. So
Wow.
here I am thinking I'm talking to somebody at Microsoft.
Right.
How is this helping Microsoft to allow these people to, whether intentional or unintentionally, deceive the public with that email signature?
Right. It's actually doing just the opposite if you think about it. You know, it's actually because people are others who aren't as what's the word I'm looking for? Attuned. I think they might take that as, if they see Microsoft MVP and they say, well, this is what Microsoft says. Well, no, that's not what Microsoft says. That's what some guy says Microsoft MVP. It could be confusing. I would think Microsoft you should at least have to get to a certain level of certification and have some kind of, maybe, give you, some Microsoft points or, whatever, but not just anybody who's answered enough questions becomes an MVP. It's like a top contributor on a Facebook page that you love. It doesn't really mean anything. And I think it can actually hurt. Now, that being said, Microsoft should do a better job of having quality support, and then we wouldn't need all these MVPs. So it goes both ways, That's what I think.
I'm going to put something on the screen here. I'm trying to find it. This is probably not exactly what I'm looking for, but pretty darn close. Let me see if I can get this screen up over here and over here. This gets a little complicated with StreamYard.
Right.
And whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let me go. I think it's this one here. Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah. Okay. Don't mind me. Just working as a producer here.
Okay.
Let me bring over this screen here.
Okay.
And this is the whole article as it went down with the MVP program abandoned and then reinstated. And we don't have to look through all of it, but you'll see that there's a little bit of going back and forth over Microsoft trying to end this and the difficulty they had, where the MVPs were going after Microsoft by Microsoft saying, look, we don't want you representing us anymore. You're not paid people. We didn't ask you to do this. And I think when Microsoft was a lot smaller of a company, this was a way to get basically people to help their clients. It didn't cost them any money. And it grew and grew. And then by the time they tried to shut it down, this is 1999. So this was a while ago.
Wow.
And so the deception continues today. And I say it's a deception because even I, as a working technician, had never heard of an MVP before. And when I went to Microsoft forums back in the 90s to ask for help, I went on a rampage. And basically, there are MVPs that are good people and helpful people. Unfortunately, that if that was the case for all Microsoft MVPs, then I wouldn't have had any rampage to go on. So I was simply referring to the bad actors, and it doesn't take many. And what I started to do was to copy and paste their responses to what I thought was nasty revenge, was to do what they were doing, take exactly what they wrote word for word and copy and paste it. And this was all involved in Windows Home Networking. And I built a little, it wasn't little, a pretty sizable Word document with the most frequently asked questions I kept seeing and the most frequently responses that were effective. And then I would highlight them, the question, the answer, the question, the answer. This went on for about 5 or 6 or more pages of Microsoft Word. And as people would ask those questions, the frequently asked questions, I would copy and paste the answers. And the MVP said, well, you didn't write that. I go, no. And you didn't write what well, I put it in my own words. I don't care. There's something called common knowledge. So if I say George Washington was the first president of the United States, and you say, well, that's what I said, you can't plagiarize me. That's not plagiarism. That's common knowledge.
Right.
So I said, everything you're posting, you didn't create. They go, no, but I reworded it. That's not required because it's common knowledge. You can't claim plagiarism here. So then I got so frustrated. What I started to do is post my entire Word document onto those networking forums. Here's every question that people ask most often and their answers. And then what happened was this gentleman reached out to me and he said, I'm writing a book on Windows networking and I love your, I saw it on the forums, your list of all these common problems that people are asking.
Right.
And would you be interested in, putting that, can I republish that in my book?
Right.
Like as an appendix or appendix? Just like
the back of the book.
Yeah, the FAQs, right?
Right.
And I go, yeah, you're welcome to use it. And he said, would you mind cleaning it up a little bit? Would you work with the publisher?
Okay.
Right? Because I'm not an author. What do I know about writing?
Right.
Okay. So the publisher was McGraw-Hill.
Okay.
And McGraw-Hill helped me, they reworded it and made sure that I checked it, that it didn't. Sometimes when they clean up the language to make it more publishable, it loses its meaning. So we did some corrections where it got published. And about 6 months or a year later, the publisher reached out to me and said, would you be interested in being a technical editor on this other book that we're having written?
Right.
I said, sure. So I got the first couple chapters, and this isn't volunteering. I'm getting paid. Well, I volunteered for when I did the first book, which is just working with the publisher on this little Word document of FAQs.
Right.
The publisher, I guess, kept my name and number, and I didn't get paid, but I did get a free copy of the book. And my father said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You should get paid for your work. And I said, well, I'm sticking my foot in the door. I'm going to be an intern here and might lead to other things. And I'll be a published author. I can put that on my resume. I think it's worth the trade-off. I disagree. Well, that led to the publisher calling me and asking me to be a technical editor, a paid job.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And I started seeing the sample chapters coming in from the author, and they're all screwed up. It was almost like the guy was writing for word count versus for conveying actual helpful information. And I had at a time received a lot of questions from people that would say, I really like how you explain things in plain English. Is there a book you can recommend? Please don't say the For Dummies books. I've read those and I must be a real dummy because they go over my head. And I thought, that's a good question. How come nobody's written a book in plain English? And why do people feel like they're extra stupid? If I can't understand a For Dummies book, I must be dumber than a dummy. And I'm like, that doesn't make you dumber than. That upsets me.
Mm-hmm.
That upsets me that you insult your readers. Oh, this is for dummies. Oh, that's me. No.
Right.
So I'm reading what this guy's writing, and it's more this computer jargon. Some of it's just wrong. There's one sentence that I'll never forget. It said, let me take you a second. And I'm looking at that, and the first thing I'm thinking is what he meant to say was, let's take a second, or let's take a moment.
Right.
Then I thought, now that I'm correcting the grammar,
right,
what is this adding to the book? What would happen if we took that sentence out and just continued on?
Right.
Nothing. So I'm seeing really basic something like, is this person 11 years old? Has this person ever written a book? Like, I don't know how to write a book, but I wouldn't do that. So I told the publisher, I said, look, I'm not going to edit this. This is embarrassing. They go, well, would you write it? And I said, well, I'm not a writer, but I can do better than this.
Right.
And they said, okay, the author is going to be your technical editor and you're going to be the author and we're going to pay you a ton more money. Okay. And 9 months later, we got a book done. And strangely enough, no animosity from the author whose job I took. He's written plenty of books, so I didn't get in his way of his success. But
he's probably not hurting too bad.
And I said, look, so initially the publisher said, you can't write it this way. It's in a conversational tone.
Right.
This is McGraw-Hill. We make educational books, academic books. I go, that's the problem. If we want to make a book for everybody, we have to put it in plain English.
Right.
We have to show a lot of photos. So one of the things that happened in this process is I was explaining the dangers of running JavaScript. And the feedback came back from the publisher, from the technical editor going, can you explain what Java is? So I start to write what Java is. And when I reach page 3,
Right.
I'm like, what the hell does this have to do
Right.
with any of the maintenance and things? I'm just trying to teach
Right.
basically how to get back control of your computer. You can buy a book this thick on Java. If you want to learn Java, I think that's great. But this isn't the book for that. So I wrote back after 3 pages of me writing about Java and wondering where I can stop.
Right.
I wrote back and said, we're off track. It doesn't matter what Java is.
Right.
So we compromised and we put these little shaded areas on one side of the page that was optional reading that said, if you want to, this is basically what Java is and what it does. Very simple. If you want to learn more, there are shelves of books on Java.
Right. Right.
And if you feel that way, we encourage you to read them. And so all throughout the book, there's these little shaded areas of additional information.
I actually like that. I like that when that's in a book that I'm reading. It's like, maybe like a Gary V book or something. It's like a little synopsis over here, but again, that sometimes your brain just starts melting when you're, it's like, okay, boom, or a little something to think about or whatever. Yeah, I actually like that.
One of the things this guy did that really upset me was the concept of the book was, let's write a book that's really easy to understand.
Right.
So in chapter 2, when he's explaining how to edit the registry, I about blew my lid. I go, first of all, there shouldn't be anything about editing a registry. There's no reason to talk about it in a book that's intended to be for beginners. If I hand this book to my mother, will she understand it? That's my benchmark. And I said, not only do I disagree with this, it doesn't even belong, like that's a more advanced topic. And then the other issue was, we keep adding more and more to this book.
Right.
And I said, we can't do this. You can't, me and the technical editor, we go back and forth. I go, we're going to have a book that's 300 pages thick. You understand that you can't tell somebody this is the easiest book to read about computers and have it be this thick.
Right.
Because that's 2 different things. There's no way a book that thick is easy. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
I said, we have to draw some boundaries. And then, when I published it, they didn't promote it. So then I ended up doing a tour. I bought the books myself and I went out and promoted it thinking I'm building a brand.
Right.
And if the book sells well, they'll want me to come back. Well, they did. It did sell well. They had to reprint it 3 or 4 different times. They kept running out of books. I said, how come you didn't just print this many books to begin with? And they said, well, we didn't expect it to sell that well. Well, thanks for believing in me. I go, you told me you have to order a minimum of like 3,000 books, or you can't, like if I need 1,000, you won't put a new order in.
Right.
Right. Because the cost per book is too much. I go, but your refusal to just order 14,000 books out of the gate just cost you money because you did 3 orders of 4,000 or, whatever it was. Right. Then if you would have done 1 order of 14,000, but then we'd risk having them sit in a warehouse and we would have lost money. Right. So your fear of losing money just cost you money.
Right.
Anyway, so they said, well, we'd like to have you write a second part to this. Would you like to? And I said, sure. And they said, okay, we're going to pay you half as much. I said, that's fine. I'll do it whenever I get around to it. Well, they didn't like that. They said, well, how long is that going to take? Well, right when I'm in the mood. That's what you're paying me for.
Right.
So after about 12 weeks, they said, our salesmen have pre-sold this book and we have an obligation to deliver it to the bookstores.
Right.
So we can't wait. So how would you feel if we just gave you some money and you just step away? Like, was that an option the whole time?
I'll choose door number 2.
Yeah, you're going to pay me to not do it? Send the check. Easiest money I ever made.
Seriously.
Should have put that on the table to begin with. I'm told we have an email.
Oh.
Let me grab my glasses.
Okay.
And let's see what we've got here.
I'm waiting on my favorite bartender because it is 4 o'clock, and you know what that means.
Is it 4 o'clock already?
It is.
Oh, it's only 2 o'clock my time.
4 o'clock Central.
Wow, we have a very generous Amazon gift card sent to us by our good friend Charlie Purdy in the chat room. He says, this is for the channel and community. I hope it helps. And of course, some steak sauce for Marlena.
Nice.
We get the steak sauce from Amazon that's sugar-free, and apparently it's delicious, and Mara never gets enough of it. And there's a whole story behind that. But in any event, thank you, Charlie. Thank you very much. And our friend Buster, joining us from Scotland, always sends us a token of his appreciation, like every broadcast, which is just amazing.
And I think I saw, Pieter sent €1 while we were just gabbing back and forth. So shout out to him for the support.
Right on. Well, thank you guys. And also, again, if you have any questions for us, this is the time to ask. We love interacting with you. And if you've asked something and we didn't see it, please ask it again. So what I wanted to talk a bit about, as I mentioned, a bit about the BitLocker, a bit about why it never makes sense to use the Microsoft media creation tool. It just doesn't make any sense. If you want to download the ISO just for peace of mind, you can use the media creation tool to download the ISO. Right. Once you've got the ISO, download the portable version of Rufus. And my recommendation is you turn off the online account requirement and turn off the default enabling of encryption. And you will never, ever need to use any other installer of Windows ever again. It will always do it right every time. You'll never hit Shift F10. You'll never have to type in whatever.
And if you use that versus the MCT, you have options that you don't with the media tool. All right, it's 4 o'clock. You know what that means.
Right on time. Holy moly.
Don't take any wooden nickels. That's your tip. I'll give you a tip later. Oh, well. Love you.
I've heard that.
Oh, hey. Pike's on the stream. Is he here?
Who?
Okay. Be looking for my friend Eric. He's on the stream. Okay. Open it.
Eric Pike?
Yeah. He's a buddy of mine.
My kind of math. That must have been about me getting paid to not write the book.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that's what it was. Phil, that was for you. Oh, God, that was hot. Okay. Yeah.
What was it today? What brand? And
still Lunazol. I go with the cheap stuff for my daily driver. You know, when I'm celebrating, it might be like I found a new tequila a buddy of mine told me about. It's called Butterfly Cannon. Oh my God, it is so good. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, just Lunazol, which is great tequila. Especially if you drink as much as I do. So, you know. All right. So yes, I do agree with you. First of all, Ruf, you and I as professionals need to do, not just us, but I mean, people who are in the know need to continually put the word out that programs like Rufus are 100% legit, 100% safe. And just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's bad. Secondly, I agree with you that if I didn't think about it so much as far as the creating or disabling the encryption through that. And I may actually start doing that. But I do like the fact that you can force a local account. If nothing else, it just saves me some keystrokes instead of having to Shift F10, bypass NRO, boom, it's just automatic. So I do like that. I do like that. It won't
matter when 25H2 comes out or 26H2 comes out, it will always work.
Right.
It's a permanent fix. You'll download your 25H2 ISO image when that comes out. You'll go to Microsoft and use the media creation tool if you want to. I personally do. I don't want to get my ISO image from anywhere. Yeah. I don't even trust Rufus to give it to me. Or to give me the right one that I want.
So let me ask you this. Do you know, and if you don't know, that's fine too. I'm just curious because I've seen other folks, specifically like I think Rich over Cyber CPU Tech. I think, God, I want to say, I can't remember. That's the one that just Brytech 09, couple channels that I watch. But do you know how the software takes that ISO and I kind of look at it like it's like it doesn't inject code, but it like extracts it and then like just disables that portion of the install. I mean, do you know how it does that? I've always been it just works, so I don't care. But it's like be interesting.
There's nothing that Rufus is doing that you can't do by hand.
Right.
You can create your own DSIM installer.
Well,
you can have CCleaner and all this other crap on there come in automatically when you install Windows.
Right.
You can also, like in an enterprise corporate environment,
right,
where you're not allowed to have certain features. Let's say it's Windows recall or something.
Yeah.
Then they would create a custom installer to make sure that that's not a part of the install. If you take it to the extreme, you end up with an unofficial like Windows 11 Lite, which is all rife with all kinds of problems, by the way.
Right.
You know, gamers don't care about anything than getting to the next level.
Right. Well, I've seen other guys, other creators, basically create, take their regular ISO, but import it into this program and strip out all the bloat, strip out of this, and it doesn't change. I don't think it changes the ISO. It just says on setup instructions 1 through 700.
No, actually, it changes the ISO. That's my understanding. I mean, if I was going to do it, which I won't because somebody already did. Why would I? Right. The way I would do it is I would use the standard Microsoft customized, installer.
Right.
And all he's doing is he's setting a couple of registry settings. He's not creating any new registry settings.
Right.
He's not removing any registry settings, and he's not doing anything outside of what Windows allows. Same with my optimizer tool, by the way. I'm not adding any new entries into the registry, and I'm not doing anything Microsoft doesn't bless.
Right.
It's all right there. And the only reason I have the tool is it saves me time. You can do everything in my tool by hand, but sometimes I forget because there's so many steps that I already do that. I get distracted in the chat, and then I end up, I got to start over again. It's like counting money. Or you can get one of those machines that goes brrr, it gives you the total of dollar bills or cash you have. So I explain to people the optimizer is a luxury. It's not a requirement. It's not doing anything you can't do by hand. It just does it in seconds versus when I was doing it by hand over and over, I'd lose track of what I had already done. And then on top of that, the amount of reboots or things I was doing just to manually type it all in was like, there's got to be an easier way. And I didn't make that to sell it. I made it so that I can go through every computer that comes in that I build or repair will go out the same way.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example. Let's talk about something. This is not part of the optimizer, but if you go to, and by the way, everybody following along, watching could follow along. Windows 10 or Windows 11, if you right click your start menu, you following with me, Scott?
Oh, are we supposed to be doing this?
Yeah, I want you.
Right click our start button.
And you have an option there called System.
Yeah.
Click on that for me.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you're in System, let's see if I can share my screen here. Bear with me for 1 second. Let me go to OBS and turn on
16 core processor. Yeah, you lie. Okay.
Properties. And I don't want Chrome, Edge. I don't want that either. Where is it?
What are you looking for?
I'm trying to find the system screen here, which is some reason it's not offering it.
It's the on the left, the second one. It's underneath.
No, on OBS.
Oh.
I'm looking at OBS here. Let me, I guess I can do it in StreamYard. I'm still kind of old school here, so probably doing this the hard way. I was trying to pull up essentially this screen here. So I think I can go to.
Yeah, you can share screen in StreamYard. Just got to
name.
Don't ask me how to do it because I haven't used it in 100 years.
Presenter invite, share screen with 2 monitors. Oh, it's easiest with 2 monitors. I see. That's fine. And then I want window. Aha. There it is. Share that.
Oh, look at that.
Do you see it?
I see. It looks a lot like mine.
Okay. Is it full screen or am I only on half the screen?
Okay, well, tell you what. Let me open mine full. Okay, I have mine shrunk like this to cut down on the reflection.
I
on my
can't
glasses.
see what's going on.
I can see it. It's about 80% of the screen.
Okay, so if I come over here,
yeah,
and you see this, it says Advanced System Settings.
Yeah.
Click on that.
Oh, am I doing that? We're following along here.
Please do.
Okay, hang on. System. I'm not sure. I don't think I have that.
It's right between.
I've got Pro. Oh, yeah, you've got Pro. I've got Home. I'm not sure if it's in the same place.
Should be.
Yeah. Let's just.
Are you on Windows 11?
Yeah. Hang on. Let's see. Let me take this full screen because. Okay, Home, System. Scroll down. No, I don't have that. Mine doesn't look. Oh, you went to About. Oh, I didn't catch it. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
No. I just went to System.
No, you went to System, then About. That's why I was looking there, and that's what I saw. But when
Wait
you
a
go
minute,
to
I right click and I go to System. It defaults to About.
Well, mine defaults to System, and then when I scroll down, then I can click About.
Okay.
That could be a difference between Pro and Home. But I'm there now. Advanced System Settings. I got you there. Are we going to?
Have you tried turning it off and on again? All right. You see where it says Performance?
I'm not sure I want to talk to you. Yeah. Click Settings.
Take a number.
Yeah.
Click on Settings.
Yeah, I'm there.
And yours probably says let Windows choose what's best for me.
I usually do adjust for best performance.
Okay, so if you adjust for best performance,
right, it gets rid of everything.
I recommend turning on a feature that says animate controls and elements, that first box.
Right.
I recommend leaving that on. And then the other one is show thumbnails instead of icons, because otherwise you won't see any more thumbnails.
Right.
They'll just be icons instead.
Yeah, I don't need my combo boxes to slide open.
And tell me if you notice any difference. Now, if you've already got yours set, then it won't really apply to you the way I was hoping. But for all the viewers.
Actually, I just rebuilt my system a little while ago, so I didn't change that because I had to go spend an ungodly amount of money because I'm an idiot. But I'll have to restart probably before. Well, no, it's gonna real time. It doesn't even have to restart.
If our viewers follow these steps, you should not notice anything difference other than your computer seems a lot faster now.
Well,
now, if I'm wrong, you can go back and change it back to adjust for best performance, or adjust for the best settings for this computer.
It's weird. It's the comments. This may be super insignificant, but the comments are the font is not very clear.
Oh, because my screen's too small.
No, I'm talking about I've got your chat up on. This is all my end. I opened the stream and popped out the chat so I could watch it. It has nothing to do with you. This is on my end, and it didn't start until I just did that.
I got you. So that is okay. Fair point.
So let me go change. Let me go see if I can find that.
It's
something about fonts.
Yes.
And change because I can't. I'm half blind anyway. I can barely.
Who said that?
Let's see if there's a thing about fonts here. Smooth edges of screen fonts. Boom. Yep. Click apply.
How does that work?
Oh yeah, night and day. Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple of boxes there that you're checking.
Yeah.
One additional one that I didn't have that experience with.
Yeah, but I don't need drop shadows on everything else and all that crap.
And then when you click on things, your windows just pop open. Everything's going to happen. Your computer is likely going to seem much more responsive than it did before.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, my question is, what is it you're having the problem with? So yours is a great example. Well, I can't read my screen. Okay, there's one box for that. These become individual preferences, right? So I just picked the two most common ones, which is how come I can't see my thumbnails anymore? How come they're just broken icons?
Right.
Because your view settings changed. Well,
Right.
I didn't change them. Well, they didn't change themselves. And I'm not saying you did it, but something you installed or something you did,
Right.
or something
Right.
somebody was using this computer.
Right.
It didn't do this on its own. It's not turning BitLocker on its own. You know, the worst case scenario that I've ever seen was Microsoft OneDrive customer needs a PC upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
It's a computer I built like 10 years ago. I haven't seen it in 10 years.
Okay.
No problem. We'll put a new motherboard, new CPU, new RAM, new storage. We'll use the same case, same DVD drive. Everything's cool. And it shows they have like 56 gigs of data in their My Documents folder. And I go to copy it from the old drive to the new one, and it copies 2 gigs. It says it's done. What? And I see there's a couple folders on the desktop. You know, people like to save everything on the desktop.
Right.
I don't get any of those either. They're there, but they won't copy.
Is that because 50 gig was on OneDrive and only 2 gig was actually on his PC?
Yes. And I said to the customer,
it's like I know what I'm doing. Look at that.
Oh, now
Celebrate. I need Sheila. I need tequila. Hang on. I'm just playing. I'm playing.
So I call the customer. I go, so it appears you're saving your data on OneDrive. They go, no, we're not.
Yeah.
Or at least we didn't do it on purpose. And I said, well, I need your OneDrive login information because I've never seen this before. There's nothing on the screen that tells me they're connected to OneDrive. It's seamless. It's like it's on the desktop, but it isn't. So I enter her name and password. Doesn't work. I said, does anybody else use the computer? She says, yes, my husband. I go, what's his login? She gives me that. Doesn't work. I go, does anybody else use this computer? She goes, no, but my husband does have a work email. You want to try that one? I go, yep, there it is, everything. So now I got to pull 56 gigs down from the cloud. Wow. And I'm like, this is going to take a little while. And she's like, well, how did it get there? I go, you're going to have to tell me. I said, apparently your husband was logged in with his work email and he had turned this on. Well, he had no recollection of turning it on. I go, well, it doesn't mean he didn't.
And his work didn't say, oh, by the way, you've got 50 gigs of storage on our servers. And
it's not his work. I mean, I see what you're saying. I think his work email was not associated with OneDrive at work, only at home. That's the impression, because I didn't see any business stuff.
What's OneDrive at now? Is it a terabyte now?
Let me Google it. How much free space with OneDrive? Probably going to match Google, don't you think? 5 gig.
Okay, so he had to have been paying for that extra 45 gigs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, who's paying for this?
Somebody's paying for it.
Maybe
he's billing it to his office too. I don't know.
I've never seen it before. I've never seen it since. And they're absolutely clueless. And nothing about that integration was clear to me as a tech, that this data's local and this data's online.
Right. It's just, it's another folder that's on your computer. And as far as you're concerned, it's right there because it's instant. And
well, then I tried to delete a file that they didn't need anymore.
Right.
As soon as I deleted it, it came back. So I deleted it again. Came back. Where's it coming from? It's coming from OneDrive. Go to OneDrive, delete it. Then the desktop puts it back on OneDrive. Stop.
It's, one of the things that scares me the most is removing or uninstalling OneDrive. I have gotten to the point because I can't remember the last time it happened, but I remember it scared the crap out of me. And thankfully they didn't have a whole lot of stuff. But I deleted OneDrive and then the files just vanished. It's not like they, moved back to the desktop or back to the pictures folder like they're supposed to. It's gone. Where are they? And so now, and it's probably, silly, one of those things that we do just out of habit. But now I'm literally I will go and on my backup for my client, I've got all the, the typical documents, pictures, music, video, all that stuff. And I will go into the OneDrive and create anything that OneDrive creates as far as like documents, pictures, whatever. I'll go and create a OneDrive documents, a OneDrive pictures, and go into their OneDrive and copy everything out of it into that OneDrive pictures folder or whatever. And then only then do I feel safe removing it, because it's just like you said, you delete it here, it pops up here. You delete it here, it pops up here. It's like, I don't need 2 copies. I don't need any copies. But, you know, there's no definitive, this is online, this is local, you know. I don't like OneDrive. I just don't care for it.
Well, for me, like my managed service clients, they're all in their 60s and 70s.
Right.
And there's one in particular who's an attorney. And I mentioned, you know, we can put the data out in the cloud. He's like, nope. Yeah. And I go, well, is there a reason for that? Just out of curiosity. And he said, if you put it in the cloud, I want you to show me.
Right.
I want you to show you what? Show me the computer in the cloud you're putting it on. You mean you want me to take you to the data center and show you the server?
Right.
Goes, yeah. And guarantee me that nobody can log into that somewhere in the world and steal all of our client data. I go, well, I can't do that. And he goes, then we're not going on the cloud. We're hosting it here, and we'll do our own backups off site. So that way and this guy's a little over the top. I said, for example, would you mind if I showed my YouTube channel, if I do this diagnostic and repair? He says, I'd rather you didn't, because I'm concerned if you show a serial number that can be traced back to us. I go, well, in my brain, I said, that's not how it works. But what I said is, no problem. You don't have to tell me why. It's just a yes or a no.
Right.
It doesn't matter why.
Right.
You and I both know that's just not a thing, but he's not comfortable with it. I'm not going to reassure him everything's going to be okay, because the minute something unrelated happens, then that'll be my fault. So just said no. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know why. I respect it. I had to ask because I think this would benefit people to see it, but it's not like I have a shortage of anything of like content to make. And so anyway, I'm explaining this to give you an idea of the personality of the individual, and why they're against cloud, what they're thinking, right? And it's about security. And I also find this more with the older crowd. They're more skeptical and less trusting, which is also me. I'm very untrusting of anything automated, any sort of dependence.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say I'm old. But,
what?
That was good. That was good. You got jokes. Okay.
Anyway, so where were we? I've lost track of my.
Yeah, I don't know. We were waiting for people to ask questions, I think.
Oh, has anybody?
No. But I think everybody pretty much hates OneDrive and BitLocker. So there's that.
Corey Man says it might be less safe to host it locally. Well, that brings up the opposite side. When I have people say to me, should I encrypt my hard drive?
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, are you making backups? And they go, yeah, I make backups. Like, I got you. You weren't expecting me to say that, kind of an attitude.
You thought I was one of them dummies, didn't you?
Do you encrypt your backup? Do I what now?
Yeah, right.
So you understand, if somebody steals your data, they don't want to use the cloud because someone might steal their data, but they make their backup and they don't encrypt it. So someone still might steal your data. I go, this is what people do. And this was a thing I did on stage when I was doing these presentations before the pandemic. I go, people are so worried about their credit card number, right? Oh, my credit card, protect credit card number. But I have been like in a store and had somebody having difficulty paying at the cashier with their credit card. And it says to call their credit card company, and they do that in line. They do all their verification on their smartphone.
Right.
Yes, I'm calling my credit. I'm at Walmart. My credit card was declined. We're just trying to get everybody's in line waiting. My card number is 421.
Right.
Expiration. Oh, the CVV code on the back. Like, are you aware? People will go and they worry about their security.
Right.
And then they go to Starbucks, open up their laptop, and everybody around you can look at what's on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
is what I want to shake people and
It's back
smack
to
them.
there's that hypocrisy and arrogance and just general stupidity.
Well, it's lack of self-awareness.
So
I told
have you had any interesting comments lately?
Hold on. Mark Gaines, our friend who joins us from Northern Ireland, submits an Amazon gift card. He says, here's a little something for the channel. Thank you to Mark Gaines. I always want to say something, like if it's from Ireland, I want to say something Irish, like slancha. Cheers.
I was just going to say, raise a glass and, toast you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm probably mispronouncing it. It probably sounds terrible coming out of my mouth. Like if I'm speaking Gen Z language.
Scotland. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're just right.
It's probably it's meant to honor, but it can come out as insulting.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you to Mark Gaines for your generosity. And I think, and of course, Charlie Purdy, of course, our friend Buster. Did I have any interesting comments?
Yeah, I'm asking because I had one the other day, and it's just still.
So that's like asking are you hungry?
Yeah.
So in other words, you're hungry.
Carey, take me to McDonald's. No, I don't know how often you're in your comments because I know most of the time you do lives, and so you're dealing with them right there. But my comments all come flooding in the day after, and
so I don't have any issues with any of the members. They're very respectful. They pay attention. They're a pleasure, and I feel honored to have these folks that I consider them to be friends, because the general public, there is a fraction of the general public that wants to fight to the death to defend their ignorance. All right. I want you to comprehend, because I've thought of this very carefully and how to phrase this.
Right.
They are going to defend their ignorance. So an example of this that just happened the other day is I was reviewing the Synology 1525, and I show how you can simply replace the old hard drive compatibility database from a prior unit, and you don't have to use Synology drives anymore. It's a 2-second fix. Like, it's literally 2 seconds. And people go, yeah, but Synology could patch that. No, the Synology can't. Oh, I used to be a developer and I know. I go, you don't know. And they goes, yeah. And then when they do, you're going to, you won't be able to access your array. It's not how it works, man. I explained all this and they didn't hear it. And I'm like, look, I'm not telling you to do this.
Right.
I'm telling you, the reason you're not going to buy this device is it requires Synology drives and you don't like that, there's an easy workaround. And this workaround's been around for 7 years. So if they could patch it, why haven't they?
Right.
In 7 years, it's been working. It's the operating system on the Synology is based on Linux. So it's open source. There's nothing they can do that can't be undone.
Can't be modified. Yeah, sure.
You have to create your own operating system.
Right.
And even if, let's say there's an update that replaces the hard drive compatibility database,
right,
resets it, then what happens is your RAID, your Synology NAS still works.
Right.
It just says, I can't repair it, and you can't do anything to modify it. It puts you in a warning state. It still works fine.
Right.
And you know how you fix it? You put the database back, and it's back to the way it was. So you can script it, run it as a scheduled task at every reboot, and it will always, even whether it updates or not, it will just keep replacing that hard drive database, whether you need it or not. And you won't even notice any slowdown by the time it runs the task, if you run it manually.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to schedule it to run all the time,
right,
you just wait until an update happens. If it happens,
right,
go to your scheduled tasks, and instead of scheduling it, just hit run manually. By the time you release the run button, it's already done. It's that fast.
It's fast. Yeah.
You don't even have to reboot. Everything changes from yellow warning to healthy and happy. Yeah. So there's all this fear, and these folks will come on and they'll talk about how their imagination justifies challenging me without any evidence or citing any examples. And they'll do so with an anonymous name from somebody who doesn't support us, who wants to watch content they don't agree with, stop watching it, for the love of all that's holy.
Speaking of Linux users, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm just saying, look, if you're as smart as you claim you are,
yeah,
why aren't you sharing your knowledge with the world? Why are you just leaving challenging comments of correction that are completely wrong because you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the information that was provided?
right.
So if you can prove me wrong, show me, make a video and show me where I'm wrong, that will carry more weight. Or if you're somebody I know and respect, if you approach me and say, Scott, listen, or so you say, Carey, listen,
Carey, yeah,
I'm watching your video here and I really think you screwed the pooch on this one. I'm listening to you because I know who you are and I respect you.
Right.
But if you're just some rando, I mean, for all I know, you're not even a person, you're a bot.
Right.
So you do have freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not somebody people want to hear. You know what I mean? Like, it's like dogs barking. It's all it is bark, 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 bark. They're not saying anything. They're not doing anything. And if you get off your butt and actually show me, if I don't know who you are and you want me to listen seriously, you need to get off your butt and do it. It's like yelling at the coach at the football game when you've never coached a team in your life. Right? It's just like so disconnected from reality. They don't understand that their information's this shallow and the water's this deep, but they never stuck a toe in the water.
Right.
What if there's sharks in it? What if there's a jellyfish? Oh my gosh. What if there were no hypothetical situations? How about that one?
Right.
You know, actually do something.
Right.
And then if you run into an obstacle that you cannot overcome, ask for help. There's no shame in that. Right. I go, the fact that you're alive today suggests to me that every obstacle you've ever encountered in your life, you have overcome, or you wouldn't be around anymore.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, you think the sky is falling because an acorn hit you on the head.
Right.
Holy moly, what's going on in the world around us? It's like imagination over facts and evidence. And it's like a disease. And it frustrates me that it's so contagious and toxic. Those are the recent comments that I'm getting that I've never received like this. Something in society is changing and people are becoming nasty and defending their ignorance. They don't want to be corrected. The reason they left you the message was to correct you.
Right.
Who do you think you are correcting me? Well, then you should have just kept your mouth shut and we both go on our way. Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
You can believe whatever you want.
Right.
All right. And if you think you can do it better than me, make a video. Encourage me to watch that video.
Yeah.
And be prepared for a bunch of people like you, not you, Scott, but a bunch of people that share that are going to leave comments on their video.
Right.
And see how you like it.
Right. Yeah. I've done that before where, and I generally try to, you know, I mean, it's getting to the point now where I can't even keep up with the comments unless I just happen to be sitting on my phone and it pops up. Right. It's like, it's crazy. But yeah, I love those people that like have some, you know, weird username this long, and then they want to take a video that you've made, you know, the 14 things or whatever, and they literally will write line item. Oh, like I love it when you enumerate. Oh my God. If you enumerate in a comment, I'm definitely watching it. I'm definitely reading every bit of it. And, you know, and it's like, number one, you're wrong because this. Number two, you're wrong because, okay, number 7, I'll concede that you might be right. And then just literally blowing me apart. And then I'm like, and usually I'm like, TLDR, you know, too long, didn't read. And I'll just say, TLDR, you start your channel and you show me how to do it right. And I guess because I tell people, it's like, look, I'm a computer guy, not a YouTuber. Not a YouTuber that, you know what I mean? It's, people don't understand. So, you know, or like, I said, uncheck this box, but in the video, I'm checking the box. Well, that's just an editing mistake. Yeah. And you're gonna completely crap all over the video because of that one thing. And, you know, but anyway, no, the reason I was asking about the comments, I had one the other day that just stuck in my head and it just tickled me to death. Because sometimes you get comments that just reside there in permanent RAM. And this guy, I'm paraphrasing, but I even told my wife about it. She thought it was, well, probably didn't think it was that funny, but the guy was like, watch the video. I know how I felt about it. It was great. My wife was in the kitchen and listening, and she said, you had an amazing, sexy voice. I don't know how I feel about that. And I was like, okay. Well, next time I'll, do my, what do you do? Elmo, Kermit? But I was like, look, I talk the way I talk, right? I'm way past the whole, you need to slow down. And then it's, you need to speed up. You need to talk to me like I'm 5. You need to talk to me like I know what I'm doing. Remember in Bad Boys? USA, right? USA.
Well, you're being condescending. By the way, condescending means you talk to, I think it's hilarious to explain what condescending.
Right.
That's my sense of humor.
I caught it. I've only had one shot, so I'm good.
And if you're not being condescending, then you're flexing, like, oh, you just want to show everybody how smart you are.
I'm not sure why people do that.
Well, here's the way I see it. Life is full of choices.
Right.
And a lot of people, I think where I'm different than any other tech you'll ever meet. I mean, I'd like to meet another tech that shares this, but I think a lot of life philosophy makes you a better tech. So, for example, there's an expression that I really, really like, and that is life is 90% what happens to you and 10% how you voluntarily choose to react to it.
Yep.
No, the other way around. 10% of life is what happens to you.
Oh, yeah.
90% is how you voluntarily choose to respond to it.
Yeah.
Make better choices. When I worked at Intel, many people in their cubicles had this drawing of like a stork or a pelican.
Right.
And the pelican has a frog in its mouth with its legs hanging out. And the frog's hands are around the pelican's neck so it can't swallow.
Okay.
And it says, never give up.
Right.
Like,
or is it one of those ones that show like a alligator that's trying to crawl over a fence and he's just hanging there or something like that? I don't know. Hey, we got
the cat that's hanging there.
right. Hanging from a rope, like a little rope line. Alan just sent you a nice little super chat there.
Oh, Alan with $27.77 said, I missed a few weeks trying to catch up. Alan joins us from Arizona. He's in Casa Grande.
Nice. Such a random number. 2777.
Well, he likes to do like sevens. So
if he lived in Vegas, I could see that. But maybe he just doesn't like you enough to be 777. I don't know.
He did do 77 one time where he hadn't seen me in a long time and felt like he's like, and he's half joking, but he's like, well, since I haven't been giving you your regular 777,
right,
this will make up for it, and gave $77.77. It's very generous. And look, I see these contributions not as donations, but as contributions. And I see them as tips where they're never expected, but they're always appreciated.
Exactly.
So I really, really do appreciate the people supporting us. So we're not over here promoting Harry's razor blades.
Well, and you're also not driving a Lamborghini, Lamborghini Huracan or anything. You're making videos every day. You don't drive a Lamborghini, do you?
No.
Okay.
I have a Dodge Challenger, only a V6. I have a starter Challenger.
You're so thrifty.
And it's a 2019. It's a great car though. Anyway, so life philosophy, I think a lot of what makes you a better tech, and I think any job really, is one, be cool, calm, and in control. Take a breath. Don't let the excitement of the customer get you fired up. Resist it.
Right.
You don't have to let somebody take your happiness.
Right.
It's my happiness. You can't have it. I'm going to hold on to it really tight. And what I don't want to do is allow myself to become a puppet.
Right.
What I mean by that is if somebody says, you're a jerk and I don't like you, my instinct from being bullied is, let me beat you until you learn to stop doing that. But as an adult, that doesn't work like it did on the playground. So what I've learned as an adult is to say, you have a problem with me? Let me understand better. Instead of just reacting, let me just clarify. You have a problem with me? Yes. So which one of us has a problem? Okay, maybe you should work on that. I'm not taking the bait, and I'm not allowing people to change my emotional state. I made that decision a long time ago. That upsets some people.
Right.
If you have somebody significant in your life who wants to argue and you refuse, you say, I'm not going to discuss it like that.
Right.
Well, then you don't care.
Right.
If you cared, you'd argue. Oh, I do care, which is why I'm not arguing.
Right.
I will not participate in this game that you're playing. It's not a game. Okay, well, let's wait until we're not so emotionally charged.
Right.
Oh, does that piss people off? Because they're emotionally charged.
Right.
I'm like, look, I'm simply, if you refuse, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to leave. When I come back,
they don't want to have a conversation. They want to have a fight.
When we just need to contemplate, take some time to contemplate. When I come back, let's try again. And I'll be gone for a couple hours, even if I'm just driving to nowhere.
Right.
And it always works because they're angry, and they're angry that you're not getting angry. And I'm saying,
and that makes it even worse.
You can't control me. I'm not
how does this not bother you?
Right. Yeah. And it does bother me, but I'm responding to it differently.
Right.
I'm choosing to respond to it in the way that I believe is much more healthy for me mentally.
Right.
I'm protecting myself is what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm not allowing myself to be vulnerable. It's a shield. Right. And somebody else might say, well, if you trusted me, you wouldn't have a shield. It's involuntary. It's sort of, I'm a sensitive guy. Right. And the way that I protect myself is I put this big shield up. So you think I'm not a sensitive guy. But if I wasn't a sensitive guy, I wouldn't need the big shield. Right. See, it's one of these things that's self-protection and a coping mechanism.
Right.
And it's also a very professional and diplomatic way to approach pretty much any situation. And I've learned this the hard way, but basically you can sit here and we can talk all day and none of it matters. You want to talk about politics. You want to talk about your preference of who you think should be president. It makes no difference in the world what you think, because you're nobody of influence in power. So, and everything that happens on one side is generally also happening on the other side.
Right.
There's no good side. They're both good and bad. And it's affecting us all equally. If they're the politicians running your country, it's not just affecting you. Right. It's going to raise my taxes. No, it raises taxes for all of us.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, if you care that much, if you truly are bothered by it, run for office. If you truly want to leave a comment that I did everything wrong, make a video. If you're just going to talk and you're not willing to do, I'm no interest in it. I got other things to do. Because to me, when I was growing up, that was referred to as gossiping.
Right.
It was seen as something housewives did to kind of get through the day. Did you hear what so-and-so did? And it was all just gossip. And I'm a science guy. I'm a facts guy.
Yeah, same.
And I'm an experience guy. So even if what you experience goes against what I know for facts, if you truly experienced it, that carries a lot more weight to me than somebody who says, well, this could happen. Well, has it happened? Here's one of my favorites of all time is people say, they'll ask, what's the best storage media for archival storage?
Right.
If you can ask this question.
Only every day.
And what do you say in return?
I tell them, I said, you're always better off with a mechanical spindle drive for archival storage, just because it's more reliable. SSDs tend to, the analogy I always use is when they die, it's because they just decided to suddenly jump off a cliff. But usually a mechanical drive is going to give you some indication that it's going bad. It's going to start being slow. You're going to start having issues, and at least it gives you the opportunity to go and retrieve data.
But what if it's a drive? They want to put the data on it, stick it in a drawer in 20 years from now?
Well, I wouldn't recommend that. You should at least get it out every few months and fire it up and make sure it's still on there. But it also shouldn't be the only copy of your data.
Well, how important is it?
Yeah, I
my
mean,
first thought is if you need this in 20 years, how important is it?
Couldn't tell you. I don't even know if I need what I know already about computers in 20 years. So,
well, I'm just talking like photos or documents.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I had a customer that was saving a lot of data. I think it was in the chat room at one point. And I said, well, what's taking up so much space on your drive?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're receipts for my business. I go, well, how much business do you do? I mean, to have that many receipts?
Right.
Well, it goes back since the beginning of my business. I go, why would you save receipts from the beginning of your business? For tax purposes. I go, the IRS can't go back more than 10 years, right?
Right.
I mean, if you filed,
right,
and more than 10 years has gone by on a business, I'm not an accountant, and don't take my word for it.
Right.
But if your accountant told you that, I think you misunderstood your accountant.
Right.
Because I said, I don't know how many sales you're getting a year, but if instead of trying to figure out how to back all this data up, just delete it. You don't need it anymore.
Right.
And then I said, what do you have it for? In case I'm audited. And how many times have you been audited? Never.
It's like, hey, look, right, I know people, not digitally, but I know people that literally have basically the same hard copies of every single receipt since they've been in business for 30 years. They've got storage rooms full of receipts. I'm like, why?
Right.
What? Why?
And they go, well, we need to get a bigger storage room so we can get another file cabinet in here.
No,
what if we just clean out the file cabinets?
You know what you need? You need a lighter. You take all that shit in the front yard and you set it on fire. That's what you do. You hoarder. Quit being such a hoarder.
Yeah.
There was a D in that word, by the way.
Yeah, that could solve another problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's some of the, and this isn't to make fun of anybody. It's not my intention. It's the absurdity of it, that when you point it out to the end user, what I'm hoping to get isn't anger. What I'm hoping to get is a smile and appreciation. And sometimes that's misinterpreted, right? It's like, well, now you're making me feel like an idiot. Well, again, I can't make you feel anyway. You choose how you feel. That's your choice. Because if I could make you feel something, I'd make you feel joy, as I just said. So if I can't make you feel joy, but I can make you feel upset, how exactly is that fair on me?
Right.
So I only get the downside anytime it's good. So my intention is to kind of lead like a lawyer does in a courtroom, lead the witness who doesn't want to tell the truth. And you ask questions where they're basically telling you
what
they're saying they didn't do.
Spit it out. Right.
And then when they hear it and they realize what they've said, the light goes on. Right. And I find that as a very effective method of teaching.
Right.
And it's not meant to make anybody feel bad or stupid. It's not the point. The point is to say, do you understand it better now?
Right. I love it. I love it when you see the light bulb go off and it's like, and then they like repeat it back to you like a 5-year-old. And you're like, yeah, that's exactly it. And you're like, cool, we're done explaining. By the way, Craig Casabona, which one of the coolest names I've ever heard. $20 super chat.
Right on. Thank you, Craig. Is Gigabyte still good motherboards? As far as I am concerned, the 4 big motherboard manufacturers, Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, and ASRock, are all great choices.
Agreed.
None of them are perfect. Some are more expensive. Some are better value.
Right.
Depends on the individual user. But I wouldn't say, no, I'm not installing a Gigabyte, or no, I'm not installing an Asus or ASRock.
Right.
Or MSI. I choose what the customer needs are, budget are, and if it meets all of those needs. It's not a question of reliability anymore, because they basically make all these in factories by robots. They're all basically built to an incredible level of quality, the likes of which, I mean, I've never seen such a. I go through a lot of parts, right? Building computers and repairing computers. I'm sure you do too. And back about 20 years ago, I'd say 2 out of 10 parts were bad right out of the box.
Yeah.
Now, 1 out of maybe 250
right
to 500 are bad at DOA.
right.
And that's usually because something happened to it in shipping. They
Well,
wouldn't have intentionally
right.
shipped a bad product. That just cost them money.
They guaranteed better quality assurance by putting in robots that don't make mistakes. Humans make mistakes.
Well, I'll tell you where the robots have made mistakes is when the human loads the cartridge of diodes backwards. And this happened to a few motherboard makers where somebody figured out this chip is on upside down. And then the problem is, right, they take pictures of it at the end of the assembly line and compare it to see if any parts are upside down. But when your main photo that you're using is wrong because the chip was on upside down,
Right.
they're completely, they're having to do a recall. It's very expensive because the cartridge to load the feeder can go in either way, and that's an industrial issue they need to fix. But that's so rare. But again, you're right. It's human error that causes that. And these machines, they work 24/7. They never have a bad day.
Yeah.
They're always the same level of quality. They're never sabotaging their work because they're pissed off at the company or for whatever reason they don't pay me enough. And the level of quality that comes out and the speed of production and cost of production is so much cheaper. It's pretty rare on an electronic item that unless at some point somebody drop kicked it to your front door,
right,
that's not the manufacturer's fault. I mean, there's only so much you can do for packing it.
Right.
So,
the only problem I've ever had is when the box has got, it literally looks like somebody punched a hole through the side of it, and then suddenly, but it was packaged properly. It just,
and even then, it usually works still.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's all right. Let's see. Martin Hogg joins us from Scotland. Welcome into Martin.
Scotland.
And let's see what else.
I just always have the urge to scream that out really loud, like Braveheart style. I have a weird connection to Scotland. I don't know if my family's from there or whatever, but it's just like something about it. I don't know if I just was really drunk when I watched Braveheart the first time. I don't know. I just know that there's like something about Scotland that just.
I'm interested in Scotland because we have so many viewers, really nice, generous, kind viewers in Scotland, which I thought
they're probably in a pub somewhere taking bets on what weird American words you're going to use next. And he's like, okay,
take a shot.
I lost. I'll send him 20. Yeah.
I've watched some vlogs on YouTube where people travel around and they'll always say the people in Scotland are the nicest people of all the places they travel. And it's one of the toughest places to live. The conditions are, it's cold all the time. It's rainy all the time. And somehow that makes people nicer. Like I think people are nicer in Minnesota than they are in Phoenix. Something about, having to withstand that difficult weather that we're all sharing together.
Right.
I think makes people more empathic, more empathy.
Oh, everybody's miserable. So let's all be miserable together. And
I think that's my theory. I've never been. I also know that like when you go down like Edinburgh and places like this from watching vlogs, that the shops are mostly mom and pop. There's not big chains, not many of them.
You don't see that. Yeah, I watched some travel food vloggers who go to all these little places, and it's exactly right. It's just like little tiny shops that you're like, is there anybody even here? It's like, how are you stay open? And there's like 2 people in the whole building, but they're all so nice. Well,
if you can understand what they say, right? Sorry, could you say that in English? I'm speaking English, idiot.
That's where the subtitles help, but you don't get those in real life. So.
But I was watching a documentary on that big castle in Scotland, that giant castle, and it's got a long history. And apparently, this was news to me because I'm American. I imagine I'm not providing anything to Scottish people they don't already know, but the front of that castle, there's like a statue or a carving of somebody important. And on the other side of the door is a carving of somebody important. And then the person says, well, who are these people?
Right.
Well, the person on the left is like Henry the Bruce or something like that, known as the Braveheart.
Robert
person on the right is William Wallace, who was known as William Wallace until 1990 when a movie came out and decided he should be Braveheart. Now everybody thinks William Wallace is Braveheart, but in Scottish history,
Robert Bruce, I think. Robert the Bruce. I think it was.
Robert, not Henry. Robert the Bruce.
I think it's right because actually I think in the movie that they ended up becoming. He basically, I think the one that played Robert the Bruce became like beholden to the king or something like that, and then went after William, basically to round him up. So I think that's where they lost they were no longer friends or mates at that point. But yeah, I think I just love the history of Scotland. I think
awesome. Clearly you're familiar with it, because until yesterday I didn't know. I didn't really much think about it. I just assumed
the funniest. If you do you like the Scottish accent?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Have you seen the elevator, the lift?
Where he's trying to talk to the AI elevator and he can't understand him.
Oh my God. You mad kill. Oh my God. I can watch that 100 times a day. It is so fun. And I'm sure people in Scotland are like, we don't all talk like that. Most of us talk like that, but it's just,
and again, it's not to make fun of it. It's a very, something about the accent is like, I'm listening.
Just to prove that, one of the channels that I subscribe to is Scottish Parliament on YouTube. And yes, I know it sounds super stupid. And like, don't you have anything else to do with your time? But literally, there's times where all I want to do is just sit and listen to Scottish Parliament in the background. Like when I'm responding to emails, I just want to hear them talking. And I don't have to watch it. I can just listen to it. It's like ASMR,
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the accent.
Well, I definitely want to get to Scotland one of these days. It sounds like you haven't been there before, have you?
No.
Yeah, I would love. But if I'm there, I got to go to Ireland. I got to go to England. I got to go to Wales. I mean, you got to.
Yeah.
A lot of people you're going to go to France. No, I don't want to go to France.
You can get from one side of Europe to the other in like 4 hours. So, just fly to wherever's cheapest and drive.
Yeah, that's a concept living on the West Coast of the United States. Even to me, the East Coast is like, wait, you can drive through 5 states in 2 hours? I can't get halfway through Arizona or, California from the bottom to the top is a 10-hour drive.
Driving across Texas one time.
Well, true. But at least the speed limits in Texas, when you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they're like 150 miles an hour. Yeah,
it's all whatever flat.
You want. Right.
Right. There was something else I was going to tell you about. Something Scottish. What was it? I can't think. We have Scottsdale here in Arizona.
Right.
And that's named after a Scotsman who discovered it initially.
Really?
And I thought that was interesting because I always wondered, Scottsdale and Scotland, or is that just, no, it was actually a guy from Scotland. And
Scottsdale's got 1 T, right?
2.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Hold on, you're gonna make me Google it now? I need to go with my gut here. It's 2 T's. Scottsdale. Yeah, it's 2 T's.
Okay. I was gonna say if it was 1 T, then it would absolutely make
sense. Yeah, then it would be obvious, right? That's why I was a little
right.
I didn't actually go there looking for that information. I was making a video. And I saw this statue and I'm like, who's this guy? And I think the guy was from like where I'm from, Detroit. And I'm like, this is fascinating. Anyway, yeah, one of these days we'll meet in a pub in Scotland. And
they'd love.
I hear they like to deep fry everything. Jay Leno would talk about how he went to Scotland and like, oh, you want to reheat the pizza? Okay, they drop it in the fryer.
Wow. Okay, did not know that.
Apparently, they just like to deep fry everything over there. So that's my kind of people.
Well, it's about time for me to jump off. I'm going to have to go tell my wife that Carey and I are going to do a live stream from a pub in Scotland.
I think it's a great idea.
Hey, at least I know how to throw steel tip darts because that's what they do over there. So, we'll be good. I used to compete, and it's so. The good news is, if I tell you to stay anywhere near the dartboard, you're probably safe.
I was going to say, didn't you say earlier your eyes weren't that good?
Yeah. Okay, I used to be really good.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah, shoot.
Ask your computer guy.
Oh God, here it comes.
What are you working on? What's the next video?
Right now?
What are you willing to disclose?
Oh gosh.
You've got to be working on some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Put them on the spot. I'm going to hold you to it when it doesn't come out.
I am going to, it may not be my next video, but it will be probably out in the next couple months. I am going to make a video to show whether I could do all my daily activities on Linux.
And that's all the time we have for today's show.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's an opportunity for me to say, look, if you are in this category of person, this category of user, you don't do anything, everything you do is basically web-based or, documents or whatever. There are options for you, and Linux may be one.
Chromebook could be another one.
For me, I can't necessarily do everything I need to do. So for those of you out there saying, just use Linux, you idiot. Well, guess what? It works for you. Congratulations. Good job. But don't assume that just because it works for you, it's going to work for everybody. But it actually is really kind of interesting to me to see.
Well, I'd love to live vicariously through you to see how that works out, because I have tried it on numerous occasions and ended up so frustrated. I just was so mad at myself for wasting my time when I knew before I began. So I went into it with a bad attitude, and it didn't.
Right.
Like, oh, if you use Linux Mint, it'll change your mind. Oh, if you use, whatever it is, why?
Well, and now that you don't have to learn command terminal, commands, most everything you can do. Some things, but most everything now you can do through the the interface. I'd like to see, But my thing is, we're smart enough to go and figure it out, or we at least know how to Google, how do I do XYZ in Linux Mint, for example.
Yeah, if you really, really want to do it, you will succeed.
Yeah, but the question is, yes, would I love to never have a blue screen again? Love it. I spent $2,000 on this computer, and it's blue screen on me 3 times in the past 6 weeks. I don't know why. But
I don't know if you've heard this guy from New Zealand. He's got a channel here on YouTube called Sam Time.
Yes.
And he tries to use Linux, and it's all edited, and it's intended to be parody and funny.
Yeah.
And he'll also do it for Windows, and he'll do it for iPhone. He'll do it for Android. He's not leaning one way or the other. He's making fun of all of it.
Right.
And yeah.
And he probably still gets hate in the comments. Probably.
Well, sure, because some people don't have a sense of humor. They don't seem to find humor in what they feel is bullying.
Right.
It's sort of like, well, if it's your product personally and you made it, it's like when people root for their states. Are you a sports person?
Yes.
Okay, and you like what basketball?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers football.
Buccaneers. Well, that's Florida.
Yeah. I was in Florida when the team was founded, so I was in Tampa.
And if I say that the Buccaneers are the worst team in NFL, do you feel like I've offended you?
No, I'd say you're right half the time.
That's how I feel. I would love to see the Detroit Lions go to the Super Bowl. So close last year.
I would like to see the Browns make the playoffs ever. And I have no affiliation with Cleveland. I just think it would upset think of the billions of dollars that would be lost on sports betting.
I just like the toilet reference. I got to go take the Browns to the
Super Bowl. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Listen, definitely, I'm not the person to talk to about sports. I'm a nerd. Sports are the antithesis of a nerd. So in my book,
right.
If you're a diehard nerd, sports ball is not a thing for us. But I do watch a little football here and there, but don't tell anybody.
You watch American football?
That's the only football I watch. I used to watch IndyCar racing, and then I was just Indy 500, and now I forget it's on. I was really into car racing for a while.
We have a Browns fan here.
And also like truck and tractor pulls. Oh yeah, give me some of that. Some monster trucks.
You should definitely be in the South.
You right?
Because this part of the country, that's like a thing. It's like
Yeah, but I'm from Detroit, where they build all the engines and stuff, so there's
but I'm from where they race them, so that's it's. I mean, I
yeah.
get it. I get it.
You got to have the rock and roll with that, though. And you can't have the country music with that.
Right, and that's the difference, because here it's
That's like if you were just within arm's reach.
Oh God, if I could just get out of this hellhole. Yeah, seriously. But hey, now that my wife has lost her job, I might have a little more flexibility in where I want to live. So don't be surprised if it's get a knock on the door going, hey, you got any local business? I could use some.
Well, if you want to live in an overcrowded city that's 500 square miles in size,
and 1,000 degrees year round,
English is the second most common language spoken here. And not that that's a problem, but you're definitely going to feel like a stranger in a strange land. If I'm Jewish and I walk into a Catholic church, I'm just saying There's a little uncomfortableness. But I would personally prefer to live somewhere less crowded and a little more like if I never see a rattlesnake or a cactus
or a tumbleweed,
scorpions, if I go to North Carolina and I have trees and squirrels, and find out that there's other birds besides pigeons,
right?
I find that very appealing. But because Phoenix is so crowded, there's a lot of opportunity.
I'd love to live somewhere just more weather temperate. Just because as we get older, it gets harder for me to handle the heat. And I'm sad because I'm from Texas. I should be able to handle it. But, it's like.
So you think Arizona's the cooler place?
No, I just said I was going to come out there and visit. But no, all the cool places, the comfortable places to live, you can't afford them.
California, yeah.
Right.
Well, if you come out to Phoenix, the best piece of advice is don't come out in August.
Right.
Unless you want to hate it and you want to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Spend a couple days here in August. You'll never want to come back.
Yeah. Ironically, I was there 4 years ago with a buddy of mine. He had a job out there in Phoenix, and they basically put him up in a house with a pool and all that stuff. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll come out there with you. And then, but it was hot.
Yeah. August is the worst. And then if you come out, say from November to April, it's pretty nice. But I'd say the same about Florida too. You don't want to be in Florida in June or August.
Right.
And Florida's got all those mosquitoes.
Yeah, they're the size of pterodactyls.
And the alligators.
Yeah, there's that. So.
And then the Florida man.
Well, we'll talk about the best states to live in our next stream. So
we'll find the perfect place, and we can go together. We'll get a duplex. You can get on one side, I'll get on the other, and then we'll yell at kids to get off our lawn.
Right, and we could have like a split. In the middle, we'll take the whole middle of the house, and it'll be like your studio's over here, mine's over here.
And we'll just cut a hole in the wall and be like, "There's our live stream."
Right, Chris. As much as you live stream, I'd be like, "Keep it down. Try to sleep over here. You do your 8 hour live stream."
If I'm in the floor above you,
right,
hitting a broomstick. Go to bed.
Right? Go to bed. Well, look, hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it, and I wish we had more questions today. So maybe we'll.
It was a little quiet, but I do want to say. I want to remind the audience, check out Ask Your Computer Guy. He's very, very good at what he does. He's very well polished. And coming from somebody who's not just an enthusiast, he works as a computer technician. So this is the kind of work he gets paid to do, that he's doing for you guys for free.
Right.
And whether or not you choose to agree is not the point. The point is he's sharing with you the secrets of, let's say, the ingredients of a recipe.
Right.
And you may not like a particular ingredient, but he's not making it for you. He's showing you, okay, here's my restaurant. Here's how I make these dishes. And a lot of places, they don't like to show you how things are made. So when there are actual working computer techs who make content and show you how they do their job, it's not looking for your approval. It's simply giving you a tour and giving you free information. And I don't think there's any channel I can think of that does the videos with the professionalism and the thoroughness that you put into your videos. And I imagine they take a long time to edit, and it shows the quality is there. Yeah. And I think if you just check out Scott's channel, I think you're going to stay and you're going to want to subscribe.
I appreciate that. And remember, because you don't want this to happen to you, right?
Well, the bottom line on that is always have backups. Then when stuff like that happens, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. Always have backups. Instead of trying to fix problems, you just restore your backup and you're back up and running.
Can you imagine the world? Can you imagine the world we'd live in if everybody actually backed up their stuff? I mean, like just did.
I asked this guy I know runs $300 data recovery. Just a quick story before we wrap it up. And I asked him on camera, if everybody backed up their data, wouldn't you be out of business? He goes, yes. And now I have to get back to work. I'm very busy. When you read the reviews, he says he is the highest rated data recovery company on Yelp in the world.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. But explain this to me, Scott. How does somebody say, these guys are fantastic?
Right.
They saved my data. I thought, I was in a panic. I lost pictures of somebody who passed away. They got everything back. They were communicative. They were a third of the price of anybody else. They did it in like a week. And so when I had to send them my data the second time, I'm like, hold on. Or they start the review. This is my third time sending a drive in. And once again, they have successfully shattered every expectation you could ever want with regards to how good they are, how quick.
Right.
Okay, I understand the first time you had to use them.
Right.
But you're still not making backups. And your review is, oh, I always use these guys. Whenever I need data recovered, I always use these.
You can't fix stupid.
I don't know. Look, the guy does a great job. And it's wonderful that he's able to do this so cheaply and people love him. But at the same time, why would you ever need to visit him more than once?
You would think you would learn your lesson the first time.
And then you'd think eventually it'd all catch on. And I said to him, I go, you named your business $300 data recovery 15 years ago.
Right.
How much do you charge for data recovery? He goes, $300. I go, well, you really screwed yourself, didn't you?
Right. That wasn't very forward thinking.
Even the dollar store, nothing's $1 anymore.
Yeah, it's $1.25. Anyway, gotta go. Hey, thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your stream. And thanks everybody for sticking around. And make sure that for the next stream that Carey, well, hopefully he invites me back. Let's get some questions out there. Fire them away. Say, hey, next stream, I got questions about this, or pick a topic, something that Carey and I are in agreement on, or opposite polar ends, whatever. It's always interesting when we go back and forth. So thanks again, everybody, for tolerating me, and be nice to Carey. Just be nice.
Well, then what am I going to complain about?
I don't know. You'll just disconnect. I mean, whatever. Anyway, see you later, Buzz.
All right. Thank you, Scott. And I'm going to just go over here to say goodbye to everybody. On behalf of Scott and myself, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, absolutely. If you want to send in emails to leave questions, or you want to leave a comment under the video, try to bring Scott back once a month. And, if there's a high demand and you want him back more often, we'll twist his arm and see if he can spare a little time for us. And in the meantime, it's always a pleasure having him here. I always look forward to these interviews. And I love the exchange. I especially love it when we disagree, but it's not like a fight. It's just like you like peanut butter and jelly and somebody else likes peanut butter and bananas. All right. They're both valid, and you pick which one you relate to, and it doesn't make anybody more right or less right because the majority of people agree. Well, it doesn't matter. It's preferences. The important thing is he's a professional, and he is sharing with you voluntarily the way that he approaches business. And I think that is so rare to find in people, and especially somebody who's working and then after work creating content on YouTube about their work. You got to be a diehard enthusiast to really go through that much work. And I know what it's like, and I really appreciate seeing how much more effort he puts into his videos than I put into mine, quite frankly. And we always look forward to having him on the show. Ask Your Computer Guy is the name of the YouTube channel, and a link for Ask Your Computer Guy is in our video notes below this video. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you all for your super chats and your contributions. Mark Gaines and Charlie Purdy, our friend Buster, Alan Lundus, and others that are right off the top of my head here. Craig Casabona. Thank you guys so much for supporting us so that we're not here just being a corporate puppet beholden to some faceless, soulless corporation to tell you about the latest doodad gadget that they want us to talk about. We can talk about whatever we want here. And we try to keep it to tech as much as possible. But a lot of that is guided by your input and your participation. We very much love to hear from you. So if you have any subjects or questions that we can answer for you in the next interview, and depending on if those build up, we need more than one. If we get a bunch of them, I will do what I can to get Scott back sooner. If we don't get many, well, we're still going to keep it on a monthly basis as much as Scott will tolerate me. And we certainly appreciate having you here regardless. So that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thanks to Mara, as always, for all the work she does tirelessly in the background. Our friends over at SCD Keys, where I get my Windows and Office license keys. This is where I buy them when I'm running, my business. I have to source Windows and Office license keys somewhere that isn't going to break the bank, but I have to provide solutions to my customers at a reasonable price, a competitive price, that I also, my reputation is on them, right? If I sell somebody something that's stolen or it's not the right thing, it's a hack or it's a pirated software, it's no way to stay in business. It'll come back to bite you every single time. Whatever amount of money you thought you were saving, you're going to put back into free support and probably buying it again at a much higher price to just save face with the customer. So I go to SCD Key, I use my coupon code, and I pay the same price you pay. So once again, this is voluntary information. Where do I get my license keys? And can you get them the same place and at the same price? Yeah, I choose to share that with you because I'm not a big fan of keeping secrets and having, my special sauce, if you will. It's just information. And it's information that I had to really dig for to find a reputable seller of legitimate license keys that was a reasonable price that had support. It wasn't easy. And now I want to share that with you. If you guys ever run into any issues purchasing a license key with SCD Key or activating it, they will 100% fix it. Just let them know. If there's some reason they don't fix it, you let me know. So you have 100% peace of mind. What you're getting is a real product. It's legit. And you're not going to be left, like in a scam. All right. And nobody's reached out to me in months for any help. I mean, people make mistakes. SCD Key. If I told you there were never any problems, I'd be lying. But they're so rare. And they're always resolved every single time. Sometimes it's the end user that makes the mistake. I got the wrong license key. I meant to get this one. And that's a kind of a hassle because they don't really know if you're the scammer. Maybe you used that license key. Now you're claiming you got the wrong one. But, they will always make it right. And I just want you to know, if they don't, you let me know, because I guarantee you I will make it right. That's how strongly I feel about them. Put my reputation on it. That's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thanks again to Scott. Of course, Tamara, our administrator, channel administrator in the chat room that does all the thumbnails for us. Great thumbnail today and our video notes. Thanks to our friends at SCD Key as well. If you ever want to reach out to us, our email address right here, showcasecreate@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. Just be careful how you type it out. People get the E's and the A's all backwards, and then we never get your email. You'll know if we got your email because we'll respond within 24 hours. If you don't get a response within 24 hours, we didn't get your email, and we likely didn't get your email because you probably typed it wrong. So proofread, and everything will go swimmingly. Thank you for watching. We will see you all again on, let's see, I don't think I'm doing a show tomorrow. I've got some renovation work we're waiting on. Friday, I wanted to continue the build from last Friday, but I don't think I'm going to have the parts tomorrow. In fact, I know I won't in time for the show. So then Saturday, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. A lot of our channel friends broadcast on Saturday. That means we'll be back Sunday. So the Friday video that we do every Friday is going to be on Sunday this week. It's a parts issue. I'm waiting on a part and I can't do that video without that part. So that pushes us to Sunday. So Friday's video will be on Sunday at 1 o'clock. We hope you'll join us then. Until next time, bye for now. I have to push the button. Hold on.